In the heart of Vienna stands a place where power, elegance, and history merge into one unforgettable setting: Schönbrunn Palace. More than just a beautiful building, Schönbrunn is a symbol of the Habsburg dynasty, a witness to European diplomacy and a stage for royal ambition. With its grand halls, formal gardens, and rich cultural legacy, the palace remains one of the most important landmarks in Austria and one of the most fascinating royal residences in all of Europe. This is the story of Schönbrunn, a palace built to impress the world, shaped by emperors and empresses, and preserved as a living monument to imperial history. The origins of Schönbrunn, the land where Schönbrunn stands today, was originally used as a hunting ground and countryside retreat. The name Schönbrunn is commonly linked to a beautiful spring, referring to a fresh water source supposedly discovered on the property. The earliest version of the imperial residence dates back to the 16th century, when the Habsburg rulers began using the area as a leisure estate. However, the true transformation into a magnificent palace began after a turning point in Vienna's history: the Ottoman siege of 1683, which damaged much of the region. As Vienna recovered, the Habsburgs invested heavily in architecture, and prestige Schönbrunn would become a major part of that vision, a palace designed to rival Versailles. In the late 17th century, Emperor Leopold I commissioned architect Johann Bernhard Fischer von Erlot to design a grand imperial residence. The intention was clear: build a palace that could compete with Versailles, the ultimate symbol of royal power in Europe. The first designs were ambitious, but financial limits and political priorities slowed construction. Even so, the palace gradually expanded, setting the foundation for what would later become one of the most impressive Baroque structures on the continent. Maria Theresa, the golden age of Schönbrunn. If Schönbrunn had one defining era, it would be the reign of Empress Maria Theresa in the 18th century. Maria Theresa, one of the most powerful female rulers in European history, transformed Schönbrunn into the political and cultural center of the Habsburg Empire. Under her rule, the palace became not only a residence, but a symbol of imperial stability. She renovated the interiors into the elegant Rococo style, filling the palace with gilded decoration, delicate pastel colors, luxurious furniture, intricate mirrors, and chandeliers. Schönbrunn was no longer just a palace, it became a statement. Austria was an empire of sophistication and authority. During Maria Theresa's reign, Schönbrunn hosted state receptions, diplomatic meetings, celebrations, and performances. Imperial family life on a grand scale. One of the most remarkable details is that Maria Theresa had a huge family, 16 children, and Schönbrunn was both a royal home and a political headquarters. The gardens, a world of order and beauty. Schönbrunn is famous not only for its palace halls, but also for its spectacular gardens. The palace gardens are an example of perfect Baroque planning, designed to display harmony, control, and elegance. The garden complex includes symmetrical flower beds, sculpted hedges, long walking paths, fountains, and statues. The gardens were meant to impress visiting diplomats and nobles. The message was simple: this empire is organized, powerful, and refined. At the center of the landscape stands one of Schönbrunn's most iconic landmarks, the Gloriette. The Gloriette, the palace above the palace rising on a hill behind Schönbrunn Palace, is the Gloriette, a monumental structure built in 1775. It was designed as both an architectural masterpiece and a symbolic statement. From the Gloriette, visitors can view the palace, the gardens, and Vienna's skyline. The placement is intentional. It makes Schönbrunn appear like the center of an imperial universe. The Gloriette represents victory, imperial pride. The empire's higher vision today, it remains one of the most photographed parts of the Schönbrunn experience. Inside Schönbrunn, Rooms of Empire Schönbrunn has over 1,400 rooms, although only a portion is open to the public. Each room was designed to serve a purpose, from daily royal life to major political ceremonies. Among the most famous rooms are the Great Gallery. This hall is one of the most impressive spaces in the palace. It was used for banquets, formal dances, diplomatic gatherings. Its gilded white decoration and enormous ceiling paintings reflect the luxury of the Habsburg court. The Hall of Mirrors. This elegant room is associated with one of Schönbrunn's most famous legends as a child prodigy. Mozart reportedly performed here for the imperial family. The emperor's apartments. These rooms show how the rulers lived surrounded by luxury, but also structured by strict court protocol. Even private rooms in royal life were carefully designed to reflect authority. Schönbrunn and Napoleon. Schönbrunn was not only a stage for Habsburg gloriette, also witnessed moments of humiliation and political tension. During the Napoleonic Wars, Napoleon Bonaparte occupied Vienna. He stayed at Schönbrunn Palace and used it as a temporary headquarters. In 1809, the palace became the site where the Treaty of Schönbrunn was signed, an agreement that weakened Austria and reflected Napoleon's dominance over Europe. This moment is a reminder that even the grandest palaces can become symbols not only of power, but also of vulnerability. Emperor Franz Joseph and Empress Elizabeth Sissi in the 19th century. Schönbrunn became deeply connected to the reign of Emperor Franz Joseph I, the long-ruling monarch of Austria-Hungary. Franz Joseph was famously disciplined, serious, and devoted to duty. Schönbrunn was his preferred residence, and he spent much of his life there working, meeting officials, and carrying the burden of empire. Schönbrunn is also strongly linked to Empress Elizabeth of Bavaria, widely known as Sissi. Sissi became a legend, admired for her beauty, famous for her independent spirit, remembered for her tragic life, while Schönbrunn represented imperial order. Sissi represented the human side of monarch, restless, emotional, and often isolated within the luxury of court life. Many visitors today are drawn to Schönbrunn because of Sissi's enduring cultural myth, the birthplace of a changing world. One of Schönbrunn's most historically significant facts is this: Emperor Franz Joseph was born here in 1830. Even more importantly, Schönbrunn played a role in one of the most dramatic turning points in modern history, the final years of the Habsburg Empire. In 1916, Emperor Franz Joseph died, and soon after, the empire began collapsing under the pressure of World War I. By 1918, the Habsburg monarchy ended. Schönbrunn then transitioned from a royal residence into a public landmark. Its imperial life finished, but its historical value greater than ever. Schönbrunn Palace today. Schönbrunn is one of Austria's greatest cultural treasures. It is recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and attracts millions of visitors each year. It represents Austria's imperial past, European artistic achievement, the cultural legacy of the Habsburg dynasty. Visitors explore the imperial rooms, the formal gardens, the gloriette viewpoint, the historic Schönbrunn Zoo, one of the oldest in the world. Schönbrunn today is not just a place of history, it is a place of memory. A palace that still speaks. Schönbrunn Palace is more than a Baroque masterpiece. It is a living archive of European history. It has seen the rise of an empire, the ambitions of emperors, the elegance of royal life, the pressure of war, and the fall of monarchy. Walking through its halls is like stepping into a world where politics and beauty were inseparable, where architecture was designed not only to shelter rulers but to announce their power to the world. And even today, as Vienna moves forward as a modern European capital, Schönbrunn remains a reminder of what empires once were, and how their stories continue to shape our world.